Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Andy Welsh and Russell Wood are English musicians who first worked together in the mod style band The Scene from 1983 to 86. The band had morphed out of a prior band, 007, whom both Russell and brother Gary had played in. The lineup for The Scene was Andy vocals, Russell bass, Russell's brother Gary Wood guitar, and Andy Orr on drums. There were a trio of singles issued during the 80s and a couple more in 2015 and 2021. Years later, in 1996, a compilation album, Landscape, came out with the tracks from both The Scene and 007. There's also the CD Reloaded with all 007 songs. The short-lived Stranger Than Fiction with Andy Russell, Gary, and Andy Orr released a single in 1987. Russell's current band is the Vendettas with a 4-track EP, Losing These Days, in 2024. And Andy has a couple of solo singles recently, Feel Good in 2023 and All About You in 2024. Andy's new single is out on February 5th. Well, welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
We'll take us back. We'll start out with you, Russell, to the beginning. Where were you born?
So I was born in Stepney, which is East London, 1962. So yeah, so seems a lifetime ago now, but
Eons ago now, right? Well,
yeah.
do you recall your early childhood? Was there music in the house?
Oh yes, my mum was a classically trained pianist,
Okay.
so there was never a time that we never had a piano. Always had a piano, and I went to piano lessons from the age of 7, and hated every minute of it. Play the piano, but when you get to teenage, you want to go and play football, don't you, and go skateboarding. So I gave up the piano. Still can play a little bit, but I wasn't as good as I was then. But mum was a fantastic pianist. She could read music. She was playing in pubs and in East London from the age of 14. She would just turn up and play songs on the stage in pubs and talent competitions, all sorts of things. Anyway, so music was a big thing in our house. And I remember 1972, we bought a record player.
Oh,
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
All right. Hey, you're reading my mind. That was leading up to my next question. There you go. First record player.
So yeah, first record player, 1972. We never even had any records. We had to go and borrow a record from a neighbour.
Yeah.
To play on it. It was a Bloody Red Baron, I think it was. I can't remember. We played it over and over again.
Oh, you're talking about Snoopy and the Red Baron?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, Snoopy the Red Baron. Yeah.
That's my first. That's my first. Yes, that one and Snoopy for President. Those are my first two. So a little cringeworthy. Looking back on that. Wow. Okay. So your first 72. Wow. Okay. 10 years old and you got your first record player. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, first record player. Yeah. But then of course, so the crazy thing was, I'm not sure what happened, but the 70s was just an explosion of music from the unbelievable amount of genres. It was like the 50s were the 50s music, the 60s was the 60s music, the 70s was wow, there's so much music.
Yes,
So,
there were.
of course, we got to experience so much music, and then like the Who in '73 with a Quadrophenia album, and we never even knew about the Quadrophenia album until 1976. And then Gary, my brother, he's 3 years older than me, so he was way ahead of me musically, like in the music world. And so he was coming home with all these albums, Quadrophenia. Like, I never even heard of this, And then the punk thing started in '76, and we was listening to punk songs, and like, wow, what is all this stuff? I was still only, 15 or 14 or whatever, yeah. And all this new music. It was like fantastic. So of course, then 1977, maybe end of 77, the punk thing.
Yeah.
Um, my brother said we need to form a band.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So we both learned to play guitar, in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And then it got to 1979, and he said, um, "What what needs to happen is one of us needs to learn to play the bass, and it's going to be you." So
Is that what he said?
yeah,
Because
he
he was
said,
old.
I said,
He
I'd
was
never be able to play the bass. It's going to have to be you."
okay. He was older, so he he told you you had
Yeah,
to.
big brother. Yeah,
That's right. Well, I want to go over back to you, Andy. The same questions. Were
Yeah.
there music early on in the household?
Yeah, I was fortunate. I had a brother 10 years older than me. So when he got, I remember watching Top of the Pops. Yeah, every Thursday night there was Top of the Pops. And I remember seeing the Dave Clark Fives, an abiding memory of watching the Dave Clark Five play bits and pieces on Top of the Pops. And I must have been 3 or 4 years old. It just stuck with me like the Cuban Hills at the beginning,
Yes. Oh yeah.
And then my brother got a dance set record player, an old mono record player for Christmas in '65, and so I was very very fortunate that I think the first record he got was the Kinks' All the Day and All the Night on that beautiful pink pie record label, that gory pink, and
Yes.
he had a I Got to Move on the B side.
Yeah.
So when the mod revival happened later on, it all came really natural to me because I first of all, I had all these three-button high suits from the '60s, like in his wardrobe, which I acquired because he wasn't living at home anymore, and which I sort of adopted to the punk thing as well. When you just stick a badge on it and wear it with a pair of 501s, and it works.
Yeah.
So he bought me an acoustic guitar when I was quite young, about 12. He had an acoustic guitar. And when we were in the record shop, he goes, "I'll get you an electric guitar if you want." And I was thinking, yeah, I can't possibly ask. So I stupidly had a blooming opted
Yeah.
for the Spanish
Right.
flamenco guitar, which I hardly ever played. It was only when the punk thing came out and the Buzzcocks just blew me away.
Yeah.
Their song, "I Love You More."
Yeah.
1 minute 9 seconds of genius. You didn't need any more than that 1 minute 9 seconds. And
No.
I thought, well, I could actually give this a bit of a go here.
Yeah.
And I think I started writing songs when I was about 16, but they're pretty crap. But my first proper band was a band called the London Boys, and they formed sort of 80, 81 time. And then I released, we were on a compilation album, a whole compilation album, called Mrs. Wilson's Children. She was an old battle axe who worked in the Wellington Club in Hull.
Yeah.
And she used to make sure that the only people in the changing rooms were the bands, so they named the album after Mrs. Wilson's Children. And and then I released, when the London Boys split up, I did a cover of "I'll Keep on Holding On" for the Diplomats.
Oh, all right.
And then I was in a band called What's for Dinner with Neil Scott, who was in the Vets.
Oh,
And then we moved down to London. We were on Radio Caroline 3 or 4 times a day. And I'm going to make it. I'm
yeah.
23. I'm going to make it.
Right.
Anyway, we got to London and Neil joined Everything But the Girl.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's when I picked up the Melody Maker that same day,
Uh-huh.
and I saw Mod Band Require Singer, and I just thought, I'm just going to be true to myself now. That's it. And I auditioned for the band, and I got in, and that same night, the Style Council did a secret gig at the 100 Club in Oxford Street.
Oh,
And they said, "Oh, you're on the guest list, for the Style Council." I thought, fantastic. So that was it, and not long after that, we were playing the 100 Club, and we did a tour of Ireland, and
okay.
we gave it a good go for a couple of years.
You know
We
when?
we we, we were together for far longer when we got back together
Oh, okay. You know
in
one thing I
2010.
forgot to
We
ask about
did we
too.
did a reunion gig, which was supposed to be a one-off in 2010, and we didn't do the farewell gig then until 2022. It was
Oh,
like the longest farewell due to COVID.
right.
It's supposed to be June 2020.
Well, one question I forgot to ask both of you is the first live concert or live show that you attended, that you went to.
Oh, good question. Probably just local bands at the Spring Street Theatre in Hull. They had local band night on it's probably the Acrylics at the Wellington Club because they were from Hull, Roland Gift's Acrylics.
Oh, Rolling Gift,
And it
yeah.
used to be called the Acrylic Victims, and it was sort of it was mainly reggae. And then when ska came in, they just doubled it up.
Yeah.
And they started, it was always a ska band.
What about you, Russell? First live concert?
Oh Jesus, November 28, 1978. You know, that's how influential it was on me. November 28th, yeah. And I was 15. I wasn't even, old enough to go in a pub or drink or anything, but that didn't stop us back in them days. And it was the Jolt that was on Polydor, and it was at the Hope and Anchor in Islington. And Gary, being 3 years older than me, that there's a gig tonight, a mod band. So we're both into the mod kind of thing, and there's a mod band on. So do you want to come? So I was like, you think I'll get in? So he said, of course you will. So we went along there, and of course, yeah, they just bouncers looked at you and they said, yeah, go on in, you go. And yeah, the Jolt at the open anchor, and there was probably, I don't know, 30 people there. And it was like,
Okay.
but
Yes,
that's it. Changed for life. Now I've seen a live band. That's it. Changed.
yes, the Jolt Scottish band. Yes,
Yes.
and Jim Doak. I believe I talked to Jim. I believe I visited Jim Jim Doak. Let me look. I can edit this out. Jim Doak. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Jim back September of 24. Yeah, Jim from that sounded very familiar when you said that. Yes, Jim
Mm.
Doak.
Now
Right.
they were fantastic. But Polydor had two new wave mod type bands, the Jolt and the Jam, and
Yeah.
it was one of them are going to make it big, and it was the Jam, and they just
Right.
just let the Jolt go.
Right. Right. He talked
Yeah,
about having that. Starting with the same letter, there's going to be one of them had to go. They couldn't both be around.
yeah.
The J and the J. All right, all right. Well, get us up to speed. Let's see, Russell. Since I'm still got your image up here, how did 007? How'd the band get together?
Well, so 007 had formed in 1979, I believe. I'm not too sure, but they needed a bass guitarist, and by chance meeting of someone that I knew had a friend that was the guitarist of 007. He said to me, "Oh, they need a bass guitarist." So he come to me and he said, "I heard you're a bass guitarist." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, we've got a band. Do you want to join?" And my brother was with me. And he went, "Yeah, we come as a pair." And the guitarist said, "We don't need a guitarist." He said, "Well, we come as a pair, so you take him, you take both of us." He didn't. He wasn't really happy, but we both joined 007 probably the tail end of 1979, and then rehearsed loads and loads of 90 in early 1980, and then we did our first gig in a pub in Hackney, Seabright Arms, and it was packed. It was like unbelievable. It was, obviously word of mouth. I got around in them days. Mod band, local band, and we played our first gig, and then we played many gigs up and down the country, and one particular gig we played in Harlow. Gary, in true Hugh fashion, would always want to smash a guitar up. So
Okay. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we used because I worked at a garage, so we used to buy second-hand guitars from thrift shops or wherever, and then I'd take them to work and spray them so they look pretty. They look like an expensive guitar.
Right.
Only actually cost us, £5 or something, yeah. And then he'd have it on stage on a stand, And then the last number, he'd get the guitar and smash it, and all the crowd would go mad. It's like, it's like a cheap guitar, but they don't know. It's like fantastic. So
No, no.
that was our trademark kind of thing. And then after this gig in Harlow, Paul Dixon, the manager, or then to be manager, came up to us and he was like, because he was a massive Who fan as well. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah, you like the
Yeah.
Who, like, So I want to be your manager. So he's like,
Oh,
sure,
okay.
why not? Go on then. So that was how Paul Dixon started as our manager, and from then on, fantastic times. Yeah.
Oh, all right, all right. Well, you guys did a cover of "Give Me Some Lovin'." You may have seen my interview with Pete York, the drummer.
Oh, okay.
Spencer Davis with Spencer Davis.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of those that I was really fortunate. I didn't think that he would be up for doing this, but yeah, he was a really nice guy. Really nice guy. So, all right. And then in '96, the album Landscape came out with tracks from The Scene and 007. We're on that. It was like half and half on that.
Yes.
That and then the label Paisley Archive was able to take old cassette tapes and restore tracks for that collection. Uh, and some songs recorded live as well were included on that. Yeah.
Well, so one of the earliest um, gigs was at the Seabright Arms.
Okay.
My mum obviously was like keen for me to be in the music industry and was like, actively, encouraging me to be, live music is the way ahead. So she would come to the early gigs, and the recordings for that album are all from my mum's tape recorder at the back of the room.
Is that right?
Yeah.
From your mom. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so that was the only recordings we had. And mum recorded
Yeah.
like the gigs, put a tape in there, press play and record. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when they wanted to, when Detour wanted to do a 007, we said, well, we've only got the live record, we've only got the studio recordings. There's
Mhm.
nothing live. The only live we've got is on an audio tape, which is terrible quality. And they went, give it to us. We'll tidy it up. And
Right.
so we did, and that's what they got.
Right. Right. You
And
think they did a I was
they
gonna say,
they
do you
did an
think they
okay
did?
job. It's obviously
Yeah,
not
yeah,
not not ideal, but
right.
the thing about 007 and them recordings were, as much as it was terrible, and it 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 captured the atmosphere at that time. It captured the what was happening in the pub, and the beer glasses clinking and the people talking and
Yeah,
shouting, and
yeah,
it captured a time. That was the main thing. It wasn't great recordings, but it captured a time.
right, right. Well, that was effective, exactly. And that was like 2018, I believe that came out. All right, well, talk about 007 morphing into the scene, and you guys kind of, just take turns, talking about the scene.
Well, so 007 was, we did all the gigs, we did many gigs. We had a bit of a disagreement with the singer, and he was fired basically. There was internal tension, shall we say, and and then he sort of, let's say, left under mutual consent. Yeah, so he left the band, and we replaced him with Mick Winslow, who had been in another mod band called the Variations, and he was out of work, or not in a band, and we spoke to him, and he come and joined us, and then we carried on with 007 with Mick Winslow singing,
Oh, okay.
and then Gary and myself spoke, and we said, 007's not really, it's not really going anywhere. We want to form more of a, more of a mod soul type band, and we haven't made it so far, so we need to reinvent ourselves as a different mod band. And we left the band, advertised for a drummer, and by a chance, Andy Orr had left Small World not so long ago. So a couple of phone calls later, and Andy Orr was in the band, and it was like, oh, this is great, this is fantastic. Now we've got a great drummer, and we're going the right direction and all that. And then Mick Winslow, he decided he wanted to go in another direction. So that wasn't working out. So he left the band, and then we advertised for a singer, and Andy replied, and that completed the band really.
Yeah. You said you needed another Andy in the band, right? Yeah.
Yes. Well, so yeah, so we've got Andy Orr, the drummer's Drew, because he's an Andrew, and Andy Welsh is an Andy. So we had Drew and
Yeah.
Andy.
Drew, there you go. That's how you kept them apart. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think? What did you think, Andy, when you got the gig with the scene?
It was a crazy day when I auditioned because I went over to I got there. I'm always getting there ridiculously early. Wherever I'm going, I'm always sort of hanging around outside and not knowing whether I'd find the studio under these railway arches and that. So I went in and I took my guitar just to play him something that you said because I thought, I might as well take a song with me to that's, it's probably the best mod song I ever wrote in my whole life, I think, at that time. And Gary's lower lip was quivering when he saw me walking with the guitar as if like one guitarist is enough. And but anyway, I got in, and that night we were on the guest list for the Style Council's first gig at the 100 Club. So that was a great day. I
Wow.
remember that for the rest of my life. And so there was a little thing with I think Paul Dixon, our manager, Russell will be able to clarify this. Had called Mick Tolbert about possibly joining the scene as a keyboard player. And I think he said, "Well, I've had a phone call today from somebody who you may know," and
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Russell will be able to tell you that more because obviously I came in on the back end of that. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but within a week or so, we were playing the 100 Club. I was walking around Bishop's Park at the time, just learning all the lyrics and the songs, and it took me a while to get my songs into the set. But in the end, I mean, Gary relented, and we did. There was a lot of Wood Welsh compilations, and so.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think we had a really really good set of songs, and we became a really good live band.
Yes. Yes. I've heard that. Yes. Who do any some bands, bigger bands that you guys played in support of?
Before I joined, the guys played with the Jam on their Trans Global Express tour at Alexandra Palais. Um, prior to joining the scene, I played with like Paul Young and the Q-Tips, and whenever they played up north, I played with Wilco Johnson. Um, so
Oh,
lots of really good support slots up north. And then when I joined the guys, we played with the Untouchables on their first tour of the UK. And we played with them at the Hammersmith Palais and the Boston Arms. And we played with the Truth. We played with the Barracudas. All sort of like blast from the past from sort of 80, 81, 82. So can you think of any more, Russell?
yeah.
Well, the Barracudas supported us.
They, they,
Oh,
they did. They did. The
They
Truth
supported
were,
us, yes, which was crazy. Yeah.
they did. That's
it
the
was,
band that had didn't they have an American member in the Barracudas? Is that the one?
yeah.
I,
There,
I
there
believe
must
so.
have
Yeah.
been.
Yes. I can't think of the name of, of him, but there, yeah, I have like a best of, I believe, of the Barracudas. I was just going to look real Barracudas band, rock band. Yeah, the one I was thinking of. Right, right. There it is. Surf rock band. Yeah, with Jeremy Gluck, Robin Wills. Yes, yes, that was who was in the band. Okay, Starkey Phillips. Okay, all right, all right. Okay, well, some nice. What were the average crowds when you guys were playing? How many people would show up?
Well, so the 100 Club in the early days would be quite full up, so near 300 at the 100 Club, which is quite packed for the 100 Club.
Okay.
At the tail end of it, probably you're probably getting 100, 150. Not great numbers, but that it Mod had gone through a lot of changes in the 80s. It was like massive in 79, still big in 80, slightly changing in 81, 82, 83, starting to tail off by 84, 85. It was like it had gone underground, more soul import, more clubs rather than gigs. Yeah, the music had changed a bit, and we, as I say, as Andy said, we gave it a shot for some years, and it had sort of tapered off. So that was
I
that
mean,
was why we sort of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
morphed
Countdown
into.
compilation was a great album. That came
Yeah.
out in, was it 84, early 85? Early
Yeah,
85.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a few tracks here that my picks are songs that I like, and want to get maybe your stories behind the songs or any kind of memories that you have. I like Gary's guitar, especially on the first single, "Looking for Love." Really like his guitar in that one.
Go on, Russell.
Well,
Talk about
yeah.
his
So
jingle
yeah,
jangle.
Yeah,
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 so yeah.
it is.
That was the thing. Gary loved his Rickenbacker, and yeah,
Yeah,
he did love jingly jangly the tracks. From that was the '60s influence again.
yeah,
And 12-string Rickenbackers. Always wanted a 12-string Rickenbacker, but no idea how you play them.
yeah, yeah. I think.
Yeah, so
Fortunately.
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, you are, yeah. So he loved picky songs, and yeah, that song is like a great
Yeah,
track to record. Well,
right, right. I think the Birds were big influences on a lot of
that's
bands there.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, with that guitar. Well, great driving rhythm on Stop Go, and I like the piano on that one. How you just all the way down the. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah,
Well, there's three versions of Stop Go. There's the
The
Mick
B-side.
Winslow version.
yeah,
There's the Andy Welsh version, and then there's the live version.
right, right, right.
Yeah, so
Which do you prefer?
I think the live version
Mick Winslow
probably.
version. No,
Yeah,
I thought the live
No,
version was really good.
yeah.
yeah. The Mick Winslow version's a bit tinny for my. It wasn't produced too well. It was a bit tinny.
Okay, okay. Uh, and then you guys did a really nice cover of the Young Rascals' "Good Lovin'," the
Yeah.
'85 single. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I like that your version of that one. That's a nice rendition uh, of that. Did that one go down pretty well live?
We were
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
doing it
We,
at
we
the end. Yeah, we were still doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then I like the instrumental 2+2. What's music? And then Gary's guitar again on that reminds me of the Shadows. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
yeah.
really
So
like
that,
that
yeah,
tune.
yeah.
It's
that
it,
that
it,
that 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 was a rehearsal studio put together song. There was no. It was one of them riffs in the studio, and we all just started playing along to it, and then we had a song.
Not many words, but
Right, right.
Well,
There are a couple of them in there, but mostly instrumental. Uh, and then no, now inappropriately yours EP from 2015. Is that a newer release or was that older tracks?
um, we when the curtain falls was an older track, and also Safety in Numbers was an older track from
Yeah.
the 80s. But I'd recently written Money and Comfort,
Oh,
and
okay.
but It's Your Life was also a older track that Gary had written.
Okay.
But the only new track was Money and Comfort
Oh, well,
on that. I think we should have actually released that on it. It was at that time when CDs were still in,
yeah, yeah.
but vinyl was just coming back, and I think we could have had two singles out of that on vinyl, but we didn't. I think it was a mistake, but you know,
Well, well, Safety in Numbers is a cracking song. I really like that one. That's
thank you.
that's another top pick of mine. Uh, from Stop Go EP from 2021. I got to do things my way. I like that one.
Russell, that's a Gary number.
It is, yeah, yeah. That was a Gary song. Yeah, that was yeah, that was okay. That worked
Okay.
out all right.
Well, I have to say, you're gathering. I like Gary's guitar. So, what's
It's the Rickenbacker that does it, I think.
yeah, I think it is. It must appeal to my ears. What's he doing? What's he doing these days?
No,
Feeding ducks.
yeah, he's musically retired.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
He's hung up the guitar. Okay,
he
okay.
has hung up his guitar, but he's still got all his guitars under the bed.
Oh, does
And
he? Okay.
my son, who's like now a musician or trying to be,
Yeah.
and he keeps saying to Uncle Gary, "You don't use your guitars, send them over."
Yeah. Right.
No, no, I can't. You don't use them. I'll have them. I'll look after them.
Right, right. Yeah, he should do that. Yeah, if he's not using them, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's got semi acoustics. He's got two tellies. He's got a Rickenbacker. He's like, don't let them rot away. Use them.
Right, right. How many bases do you have,
No,
Russell?
I'm terrible. So
Okay.
I'm really not a musician. Yeah, and everyone says like oh, I've bought another bass guitar. How many you got now? 12. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I've got two
Okay.
bass guitars.
Okay.
I've got this one, which is an old Shergold,
Okay.
and it's not rare, but there was not many of them made.
I've got a
Uh,
Shergold Masquerader.
Oh,
have you
do
still
you?
got your Masquerader?
Yeah, yeah. So I had it all serviced about 2 years ago. I thought
Oh,
I
okay,
can't. I wrote something that you said on that Shergold Masquerader, and there's no way I was
yeah.
gonna.
Oh, they're lovely guitars. That's a Shergold Marathon. It was a stereo bass.
Oh,
Like
okay.
one of the first ever stereo basses. And there was the only guitar company made in London. Based in London. So
Yeah.
not many people used them, but I always loved it after seeing Joy Division, the
Yeah,
Shergold Masquerader. I thought
Yeah.
that is such a great guitar, and they had a bass version, so I bought it.
Oh, you did.
And of course, I've got me Fender Precision bass, which is industry standard. I love it, but I keep saying I'm going to buy a Precision. I'm going to buy a Rickenbacker bass,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to buy a Stingray bass, and now I want a semi-acoustic bass. And I played them, and I think, yeah, I still prefer Precision the Precision bass. So yeah, you know,
You still like that? Yeah. I always hold this when you talk about guitars and sad, his passing, Chris Rea,
oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
recently. Yeah. I had this from the Hofner. Remember the Hofner? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a retro where they use the original Hofner, I guess like Paul McCartney, Hofner bass. And
Mm.
it's got some, like the whole thing is packaged like a retro, even though it was only out, a few years ago. But yeah, what a singer songwriter. Sad to hear of his passing recently, Chris. Well, Stranger Than Fiction. That was a short-lived venture.
yeah. Um, I think we rushed straight into Stranger Than Fiction, really, and it's the one song we just jammed out in the studio on the day, and it ended up being really, really very, very good and probably ahead of its time. So much so that we were being interviewed by Melody Maker, but we stuck two mod songs on the other side where we should. I think if we just held our horses and written five or six more songs in that same vein, I
Yes.
think we would have had some legs because it was a great song. And if you see what came
Yeah.
out, 3-4 years after it, you could
Yes.
see it. We could have had a transition into that. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that we didn't, and the rest is history. We got proper jobs not long after that.
After that. Yeah, yeah. Prelude. I do like that. I like the production on
Yeah,
it too. Nice production.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
even though Is She in Love with Love? It's a nice pop song. That it, I
It
gotta.
is. We were actually playing that at the end of the scene, in the scene set. So I think the other song's a good song, but we just played it really badly.
Oh yeah,
The realization,
the
it's a
realization.
really good song, but I just
Yeah,
didn't get it
yeah.
right. That's
You, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Jules Holland when he was in the Squeeze.
ah,
And
well,
the
that's a
vocals,
compliment.
Yeah.
his vocals on that one. Yeah, it reminds me of that. Harkens back to that sound. Wow. Okay. Well, you guys talk a little bit about that. You said you went into normal jobs after that.
Yeah, I'd done a bit of chefing, so I thought, what can I do to have a normal career when you've sort of lost all these years trying to be a pop star? So I managed to get into sales, selling frozen food in Western North London.
Okay.
And then fortunately, Levi's took people from that grocery trade. So by the time I'm 28,
Yeah.
I'm at my first Levi's conference on a boat in Poole Harbour. Nice new company car, and I thought, right, okay, and I stayed in the fashion industry all the way through until I retired from it in 2023. So
Okay.
I feel blessed really that I spent my life mainly selling ladies' clothing.
Well, you had a nice career in that, doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I covered. I think I stayed at Levi's for 7 years,
Okay.
and I think if you've given Levi Strauss UK Limited
Yeah.
7 years of your life, it just opens every door after that. Really, even right at the end, as when I was getting the jobs when I was 52, 53, and they saw Levi's on your CV,
Yeah.
and you tended to stand a damn good chance of getting the job.
Yeah.
Because they didn't take any passengers. It might have looked like it was all really cool, selling the jeans. Levi's didn't take any passengers.
They
So,
didn't. Well, it looked good on your CV though. Anyway, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, I probably had the best time in that industry. The last 12 years I was working, selling some sort of brands that had broken the rest of Europe, like Danish brands and Dutch brands, and then breaking them in the UK.
Okay.
And you got all the support from the different countries where the brand originated from. So they pay for all the shows, because it's the trade shows where you write the business and you can knock on doors, which I'm old school. I was
Yeah.
the guy who was still going out on the road. I
Uh-huh.
didn't really want to work out of a showroom.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was the last of that dying breed of guys who would actually go out with a garment bag and a rail
Yeah.
and stick it on there.
The
But
dying
also the
breed.
fashion industry changed completely. It was in the end, it was, it never stopped. You
Yeah.
you had six collections a year.
Yeah.
So as you put one to bed, you'd have the meeting for the next one, and you had another 6 week window. And it just, there was like, you look at the calendar, you think, I can only go on holiday in May.
Right. Right.
That's it. It
Your life
always
was
caused
full.
problems when the kids were off school in the summer, when you're in your busiest
Yeah.
spell.
Right. Right.
So
Yes, it would. Wow. Okay. Well, Pearl Harbor. Wow, that's an interesting story. How many times have you been to the States?
me personally, I,
Yes.
I, I went for last orders in a pub in Russell Square in January the 12th, 1987, and I met a semester from Maryland University. And I did deviously think, if I get to know these guys, I
Uh-huh.
might be able to get over to the States. And that year, I actually, in fact, the guy's closet at Maryland University was bigger than my bedroom I was renting in London.
What was it?
So, there's this English guy sleeping in Scott's closet, which sounded a bit. Anyway, so yeah, I've been over, and through that one meeting, he graduated and went to live in San Diego. So by that time, we'd met all his family and friends on the East Coast. So I go over to Maryland quite a lot, taking the kids to Disneyland a couple of times. Is it Disney World or Disneyland in Florida?
Disney World, I think.
Land.
Yeah, I've been there twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Florida,
Yeah.
Florida's land.
Okay, Florida's
And
land and
yeah,
California's world. Okay.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know it better than I do. I told you I've never been to either one. So
I worked for a company in Seattle for about a year, and I went over for a couple of meetings.
okay.
But yeah, love the States.
Okay. Well,
Cheesecake Factory,
oh yeah, you've got to go there. You've got to
white
go
chocolate and raspberry truffle cheesecake. It's the
Oh,
smallest one
uh-huh.
in that restaurant, but it's the best. It's the
It's the
best
best
one.
tasting. Oh, they make some good cheesecake. Well,
Ah,
what about you, Russell? What did you do after the scene?
Well, well, all the time I was in the scene, I never for one moment thought that we would not make it. You know, it's like you have to have that attitude anyway. But I thought we will make it. We will when we get going. And you know, you get to us that when it finishes, like we didn't make it. What? Oh no! What
I know.
happens there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was working as a car mechanic, like all the time I was in the band, and then I then carried on with that for another couple of years, and then a friend of mine introduced me to a company he was working for, which did lifts, elevators.
Oh, right, right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I went along for an interview and started working for them, 88, I think it was, and then I was working with them up until 2017, and now I'm a lift consultant.
Oh, okay. You moved your way
Yeah,
up to consultant. Yeah.
yeah.
When you were doing the auto work, did you fix the band members' cars, the guys in the band? Would you work on their cars?
Well, no, no, I didn't. But I had to fix the band van. So
Oh, okay.
when we went to we when we went on tour, we first thing we do is you need a van. So we went and bought an old uh, I don't know, it was like a late '60s, early '70s commer van, a British van, an old van. That's what you did. And we hand painted it blue and gold. I don't know why blue and gold, but we hand painted it blue and gold, and that was it. That was the band van. So all the equipment went in the van. I was the driver. Andy generally sat next to me, and then my brother would drive his car with the Drew or the girlfriends or whatever. So he had his car, and I had the band van. And when we done the tour of Ireland the first time, the clutch went in
Oh,
Belfast.
oh no. Oh no.
So I had
We
to get
still got
underneath
it
the
down to
van and
Cork.
prepare to put a new clutch in it in Belfast.
Uh-huh. Oh no. Well, at least you knew you had
Yeah.
that experience. You knew how to do it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I was like, well, the van's clutch is gone. It needs doing. So
Yeah.
I think we even went to a breaker's yard and got a second-hand clutch. And I think I bought some spanners, I think. And the band members are like, "Do you know what you're doing?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, unfortunately, yes." So I was
You,
under the
you
van, taking the gearbox out, putting a new clutch in.
oh, you were Johnny on the spot. There you go.
Oh,
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Well, we had no money.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's. You still do that today for people who need it, or anybody reach out to you for car work?
I try not to, but
Okay.
you know, if something goes wrong on a car, someone says, "Oh, what's wrong with that?" Oh,
Uh-huh.
bring it round. I'll have a look. And
Okay.
so I
Okay.
do. But it's it's um, it's not so easy these days because modern cars are just way too complicated.
Yes.
'Cause
Yes, they are.
They're,
Yes.
they're not designed now for
Yeah.
DIY.
No, no. And I think they have the sensors on the electronics are too sensitive. Let's just, because a lot of times you get in some of these cars these little warning messages and they don't mean anything, and so you freak out
Yeah,
thinking that there's something really major wrong, you know.
yeah, you
Yeah.
get it all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
an engine management light comes on saying there
Yeah.
was a misfire on a cylinder. You go, so what?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, right. Right. You don't know if you can trust all those or not, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Some of that, yeah, it has gotten too technical, I think, too. Well, all right. Well, I wanted to hear Andy. Well, let's see. First of all, oh yeah, let's talk about the Vendettas. Did you guys start around what, 2020? Was that about when you started?
Yeah. So what happened was is Brian, the drummer, we'd worked with him a couple of times in the scene as a promoter, and he contacted me and said, "Would I like to join a band that he's going to put together?" So I said, "Well, I'm with the scene at the moment, so I wouldn't say I would join the band, but I will certainly help you out. I'll do some gigs with you if you like, and if I can help out, I'll help out." So he's like, "That'd be fantastic." So we started a WhatsApp group, and then he had contacted Mick from Small World, the guitarist or the bass guitarist in Small World, and he's going to play guitar. And he contacted Adam, the singer of Luca Brasi, who was still working, or still with the band, and he said he would come in and help us or to be a singer. And then another guy called Rick, a keyboard player from I can't remember the other band he was in, and he come and joined us. He didn't stay too long, really. I think maybe a year, and then he left. He wanted to pursue other bands, I think, or whatever. Anyway, but then so the Vendettas sort of we started talking to each other, and then COVID came along. It was like okay, so it never really got going before it started, and that was the end of that one. And then once lockdowns had finished and all that, and it all sort of settled down, and people are still going out again now. So I contacted Brian and I said, what's happening with the supergroup? And he said, "Well, I don't know. Are we still on?" So it's like, yeah. I know. So he contacted the other members, and we're all still on. And so we had our first rehearsal, which was like 4 years ago in December.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah, and it was interesting because it's like, well, you know, I've only ever been with like the 007 in the scene, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure
yeah,
how this one's going to work. You've got different members, different influences, different. They all
yeah.
come from bands. So we would played gigs with Small World, and they weren't a rival band, but they was the same type of band and as us. And he's like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting, yeah." And we went to the first rehearsals, and we just played some cover songs and that. And immediately, because you're all musicians, you all know what you're doing. Immediately, it was like, "Oh, this works. This is good." Yeah. So then we did another rehearsal, and here we are 4 years later.
Yeah, you guys had some good chemistry, it sounds like. Yeah, yeah,
It sort of clicked straight away. Yeah, the keyboard player was really, really good keyboard player, and a nice Hammond organ, and it gave us a nice sound.
yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah.
just out of the blue, like a year after we sort of got together, he just messaged the group and said, "Listen, guys, it's not working out. Adios." And that was him gone. Oh,
He, really, he
okay.
left. He left
Yeah.
after. Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I know.
Hey,
Yeah. Still friends, and still he's in he's on. I think he's on 4 bands now. So it's like, and when we spoke to people afterwards, he said, "Oh yeah, he is in many bands. He's like um, he plays guitar in one band, he's keyboard in another band. He likes to write songs as well. So I'm not sure if he wanted it to be his band with
oh,
us behind him or something. Oh, I'm not really sure, but
yeah,
it was a good sound, but it didn't work out. And we did discuss should we replace the keyboard player, and then we said, well, is that? I
yeah,
mean, I think we've got a good enough sound on our own. Let's
yeah,
just see what happens. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll talk about some of the live shows that you guys have played.
Well, yeah. So we played. Um, we tend to do not heaps of live shows, not like 007 days where you'd be, at least a gig a week.
Yeah.
We tend to do more like 4, maybe 6 gigs a year.
Okay. Okay.
And the problem nowadays is you could play a gig, every fortnight if you wanted to, or once a month. But for the smaller bands, it's hard to get the numbers in now. So
Yeah.
if we do an Essex Arms gig, which is in Brentwood, a local pub that holds, 100 and probably 120 people, 140 people. If you do a gig maybe once a year, you'll fill it up. If you did it there every month or something as like a residency type thing, there'd be
Yeah.
30 people there. So
Right.
we said, we always said like we've all done the hard miles.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Right. Right.
not got to be famous now.
Right.
It's just for enjoyment now.
I was going to say because you like it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
You're not out there just trying to beat the road to death, trying
no, it's
no.
it's weekend gigs.
Yeah.
We're not doing
Yeah.
Thursday night in Rochdale anymore. It's
Right. Right.
You did
it's just a
Doncaster
weekend.
pre-Christmas.
Right. Right. Well, I was going to mention off of the EP, Losing These Days, a couple of songs that I really enjoyed. Uh, the title track, Losing These Days, great guitar in that one.
Well, so Mix the bass guitarist in Small World, and when I don't know how long ago, but he joined like a covers band as a guitarist,
Yeah.
and he's so dedicated to playing guitar that he said to us in rehearsals a while ago. He said the first thing I did for this covers band is learn 78 songs.
Oh,
78 songs.
that's
You
a
learned
lot.
78 songs. I don't think I know 78 songs.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, he said
wow.
like, yeah, no, and he will play. He enjoys it so much he'll play it deaf. So of course he's a great guitarist now, and he writes the songs as well. So yeah, he is a good guitarist, and he's always got these crazy, not crazy, but he's always got these ideas. Like when he's like, oh, when we record it, I'm going to double track that. I'm going to put these on. I'm going to add this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, calm down, yeah, like he's got pedal boards, and every 4 weeks the pedal boards changed. He bought another pedal. It was like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
He's got a lot of
I don't know
effects.
how many. I
Yeah.
don't know how many guitars he's got, but it's more than 10.
It's many. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Little Genie is a great rocker. I really like that one. That's
But
not a cover. Is that an original? Is that an original?
that's our song, yeah.
Yeah, because it
And
sounds like
and that's
an older track, like from
yeah.
decades. Yeah, yeah,
It's mad, yeah. And that's the thing about that EP
yeah,
is there's 4 tracks on there,
yeah.
and you think like, well, not any track sounds like another track. You
Right.
couldn't
They're
compare
all
one track to another track. They're all completely different tracks.
they're all
All
different.
all completely different tracks. It's like
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, we're working again on. We've got six tracks that we want to record, and we've got to probably slim it down to 4 tracks. We want to go back in the studio. We're talking about April, so we're back in the studio to record 4 more tracks in April.
Okay. So the thought is just to keep releasing EPs, or do you think eventually a full album?
It'll probably be EPs, yeah, because the problem with the first recording we did with that EP was only 4 tracks, but we was in the studio for so long, so many days mixing, and like let's try this, let's try that, and it was like it took a long time. I thought an album we'd been there for months. I think we just we haven't got that sort of budget to be there for months. So we should probably stick with another 4-track EP. As Andy says, vinyl is at a resurgence. People want vinyl.
Yeah, yeah,
but again, how many would you sell? If you sold 1,000, you'd be doing well, because
right.
as soon as they're recorded and released, they're online. They're on Apple Music. They're on Spotify. They're on YouTube. So people just go. People that are buying their albums are for collectors. They just want to collect it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And that's the sad truth these days, which is fine. You're like, if you just want to listen to a song, then click on it and listen to it, and that's great, like I'll do the same, I don't go out and buy vinyl anymore. Why would I do that?
Right.
I've got Spotify.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're not doing it these days to get rich either, And so it's
No, no, there's no,
uh,
there's no money. In fact,
there's no money.
it's funny because we make more money now than we did back in the old days.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's mad, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Andy, you you thought, I guess, at one time that your musical days were over, but doing these interviews, talking to people, it's once it's there inside you, it's always there, and it's gonna
No,
it's gonna
I
bite you. It's gonna come back and bite you.
when the scene split up, I put my Rickenbacker 330 in its box under the bed.
Yeah.
And then I got a job with Fruit of the Loom, and we had to move back down south. And we moved to Suffolk, Bury St Edmunds, beautiful little town. And as I'm moving the furniture in, I can hear tapes winding back next door. And I was saying to
Oh.
my wife, he's got a studio in his house.
Yeah, you
And
heard
he
it.
became my new best friend, and because of that, I got the guitars out again. I started writing again. It was then I almost wrote All About You then when I was 40 years old. And I'm about to we're just about putting to bed the ninth song of my first solo album now as we
Okay.
speak. And I've got a great band, although I'm a solo artist.
Yeah.
I use the same guys every time. I don't know if you've heard of a harmonica player called Pat
Pat,
Misson.
Pat Nissen, yes.
Now, Pat's from my area in East Yorkshire, but he married, I think his wife patented the orange colourant in Sunny Delight.
Is that right?
She has a lot to answer for.
Yes, he does.
And so he lives in Ohio. So
Okay.
so so he just plays his bit, and he is really involved with it. He's happy to play on every track of the album.
Yes.
So I've got this fantastic harmonica player. I've got Gary Hammond, who was Nina Simone's and the Beautiful South percussionist, and he stayed in Hull. Although he's from Bethnal Green in East London, he stayed in Hull, and so he plays on every track. And fortunately, when I moved back to Hull in 2017, and I had a meeting with Mal Williamson, the filmmaker, and his partner is Lynn Acton, who's a singer in Pearl's Cab Ride. And through them and the studio, I've met all these other guys and brought them together. And so it's like each one comes in, they've got 2 hours to get their bit right. And so there is a budget,
Yes.
but they're that good that they're out in an hour and a half, most of them, they've done it. And I get a lot from the keyboard player. James Wood is really good at sort of doing some string arrangements and some brass arrangements, and then you realise that brass is absolutely crap on a keyboard. So, but you can put it down and then get a trumpet player in to come and play it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm up to the ninth song. I've written it all, and it's going to be called "The Last Man to Know Everything."
Oh,
Originally, it
okay.
was about Donald, but then
Uh,
I,
right, right.
it's really about just narcissistic men, the last man to know everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So I took all the orange bits out and said, no, this is wide ranging.
You took all the orange. I like that. You had the orange clown. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for yeah. Tell me how you guys all got together. Yeah. Well, how did you and Pat Misson get to meet or
uh,
how?
and Pat went to the same school as me.
Okay.
And when we formed the London Boys, Rory Cameron was the lead guitarist in the London Boys, and he goes, "Oh, this guy's got a van, and he is a really good blues player." And so Pat was never actually in the band, but he played. He used to just come on. We did a cover of Dizzy Miss Lizzie, and he just came on and played harmonica to that. And he's so good. I mean, he's unbelievable. And he's. I think if you mention Pat Misson's name in the harmonica world, it's actually quite well respected, and I think that's an understatement.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I met Pat. He's just a local lad. I think his family owned like a market garden, growing tomatoes and
Yeah. Yeah.
things
Wow.
in a place called Dunswell in between Beverley and Hull.
Oh,
And then through that, I think I don't know, you kind of lose touch when you move down to London. And then we got back in touch through Mal Williamson, the filmmaker, because he managed the London Boys. And I just said, "Look, will you do this?" And he's played on every single. So I've had three singles out on Detour. So it's a year since I released February, but I never released February on vinyl. But it's going to be the first track on the album.
okay.
So it will eventually get onto vinyl. So because I
Okay.
think that it would have been a shame if I hadn't have got it on vinyl, because I think that's the best track I've done so far.
Yeah. I like it. I like February 5th, right? Coming out.
Yeah, you can go online now and listen to it. Just type in Andy Welsh February,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned trumpet. If you need a trumpet player, I just talked to. Do you know who Andy Diagram is?
No.
Oh,
Does
you
does
don't. Okay.
does he live in Hull?
No, he's a UK trumpet player, but he's in James. You know the band James.
Oh yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
And he was in Pale Fountains.
Oh
And,
yes.
oh yeah, one of my
That
favorites.
Panic in the Palm of My Hand was one of the best
Oh yeah,
early 80s songs.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So he's played trumpet with
So he played
several.
that intro on Panic in the
Yes,
Palm of My Hand. Yeah.
yes, yes. So if you need a trumpet player, you might
It's
Andy.
actually it's just this one track that
Yeah,
it needs brass.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so we are going to get a proper player in.
yeah,
But it just helps if they live local there, doesn't it? And there's a
yeah,
couple of there's a message got out to a couple of guys, and I'll find out when I'm in on Thursday doing the backup vocals on Thursday
yeah.
if they've replied. So
Well, well, since I got both of you here together, I have to ask the question. Any future plans or talk about you two guys working together?
um, nothing's been discussed. But do you know the thing with the scene?
Yeah.
We're all completely different personalities, and we all still get on really well, which you can't be said about many bands, can it?
Right.
Really, but
Very true. Very
we
true.
were we were the four of us were completely different, and I think that's why it worked. And it was a joy. It was
Yeah.
it was a joy the fact that we stayed together for 12 years when we got back together says something, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe
I,
were you
I
saying
did
something,
say
Russell?
to Andy,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I said to Andy, we should do a gig together. Like
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
we support him, he supports us, whatever it is. Like we should
There
do a
you
gig
go.
together.
There
see,
you go.
I've got to have a field of dreams attitude as a solo artist that, build it and there will come.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, so I've literally, because all my musicians are doing other things,
Yeah.
I have to do something reasonably profound
Yeah.
to, I'm getting a lot of airplay in Ireland and stuff, but the UK is a bit of a struggle. But the Irish have always been open to new things, haven't they? Really. So, but
Yeah.
Pete Holiday on Dublin City FM has been good to the Vendettas and to me. He's played both tracks quite a lot, and there's an American guy, Uncle Carl. He does a show 7 till 9 on Dublin City FM. He's played Feel Good a lot, and
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
so, but yeah, I mean, as a solo artist, yeah, of course, I want to go out and play live, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do something reasonably profound when this album gets released late spring, early summer. I wanted it to come out in May. It looks like it's going to come out June-ish, late June-ish, I would think so.
Okay. Okay. Well, Russell, any airplay for the EP?
Well, so again, yes, we was on Dublin City Radio quite a lot
Yeah.
when it was released. Not sure if it's been played much since, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, not really any airplay. As Andy says, in the UK,
Mm.
it's hard to get any kind of airplay anywhere.
There's a guy called
Uh,
Alan May who champions modern music on a Sunday night. He has a show called Glory Boy
yeah,
Radio.
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but
he's a massive scene fan, isn't he? He plays I think the scene weekly, doesn't he?
You
He
like
loved to
Stop
sing.
Go? Yeah.
He loves Stocko, yeah, yeah. And he's played the Vendettas songs a few
Okay.
times, but not that often, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you guys will work together, do something, like you said, Russell, at least support each other, play live together. That would be
But
nice.
yeah, we definitely will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only way for me to do it in the short term would be just to go on with my acoustic guitar and sing an acoustic set with you.
Yeah.
Um, but and of course, my harmonica player lives in Ohio.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it would
You-
have to be something
Uh,
quite profound. I just
Yeah.
want to
I
leave a
did.
legacy of really good songs.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I did say to you to Andy though, if if we do a gig and he wanted to support us as an acoustic type set, I'm always happy to jump on stage with him and do the bass bit with him.
Cool. I might hold you to
Okay.
that.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, anything you guys may have I may have omitted or we didn't talk about that you'd like to mention in closing?
Um, we was talking earlier on about our manager Paul Dixon, who unfortunately passed away not not too long ago, and he actually had quite a bit of success in. He managed Johnny Owen afterwards, and they made a film all about him called Svengali.
Oh, okay.
Have you
That's not
seen Have you seen the Svengali movie? And Alan
no.
McGee, who signed Oasis, was acted in it, and
Okay.
I think
Okay.
the guy at the Libertines, Carl Barrett, was in it, and
Okay.
Yeah,
Alan.
Boy
Alan.
George.
Yeah. Alan McGee. Creation. Creation.
yeah. So
Yeah,
and the main
yeah.
character's Dixie,
Okay.
which is it's all about Paul Dixon.
Oh, it's all.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look
Yeah,
that up. Oh,
yeah. It's
I
worth
wonder.
a watch.
I
It's
wonder.
worth a watch.
Is it on Netflix or Amazon? I wonder. I
Do you
could
know?
watch.
Do you know? If you do a Google
I think
Yeah.
it's
search
on
for it, how
Amazon.
do I watch
Okay.
Svengali? It's got like a yellow poster. You'll know you got the right Svengali
Right.
then.
Okay. Yellow poster.
He
Yeah.
was managing a band called the Premature Congratulations.
Wow. What a name. Where'd that come from?
He got them a deal. And then they split up.
Yeah. It sounds eerily too much like another name. Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Yeah, I'll have to search that out and see. I'll have to look into that. Okay. All right. Well, best of luck to both of you. In future ventures, and uh, do keep me in the loop if you like to, and
Yeah, absolutely.
keep posted on new releases and things like that. And
I'll send you some rough mixes of the what I've got so far.
oh, that would be very welcome. Yeah, that would be nice.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys, what is today? Sometimes the days just all run together. Today is Sunday. Today is Sunday. Okay. So you guys, your Sunday's coming to a close.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yes. Yes. And mine's just starting. So
And we
yeah.
both still work.
Right. Yeah. That's what I always joke with you guys. You're 6 hours ahead, so you can always tell me what events are going to happen before I know.
Or like lottery numbers and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Right. I'll have to check with you guys on the lottery. All right. I want to thank both of you again,
Okay,
Andy,
great.
Andy and Russell, and it's been very enjoyable. Thanks for sharing your musical journeys. And
Thank you.
again, all the best to you, and keep on keeping on, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Cheers,
All
Greg.
all right. Cheers.
Cheers.
All
Thanks,
right.
Greg.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. All right. Bye
Cheers.
bye for
Bye bye.
now.